Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Listen, history is full of amazing stories, right? Empires, revolutions, heroic speeches, blah, blah. But if you actually start digging into the details, and I mean the real ones, turns out history is also just a parade of morons doing ridiculous stuff. So today, we're looking at 10 of the weirdest things that actually happened in history. No, I'm not making any of this up. I wish I was. Subscribe to M-Stocks for more weekly short and long content like this. So without and further ado, let's get into it. Australia has an emu problem. These birds are huge, they're fast, and they're trashing farmland like it's a tailgate party. So what does the government do? They send in soldiers with machine guns against birds, and the birds win. They zig, they zag. They use bird tactics. The army gives up after a few weeks, just throws in the towel. When your war ends with "we got outsmarted by Big Bird's cousins," you shut up and don't write that chapter. Old Hickory had a parrot, and not just any parrot. This one knew how to curse like a sailor. They bring it to Jackson's burial ceremony, and the thing goes on a profanity bender, just squawking obscenities in front of crying mourners. They had to remove the bird, like it was a drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. When your pet gets kicked out of your funeral, you know you lived life correctly. If that shocked you, you'll never guess what they did during the Victorian era. You ever see one of those creepy old black and white photos and think, that kid looks off? Yeah, that's because sometimes the person in the photo was unalive. Victorians were wild. They'd dress up the recently departed, pose with them like it was Christmas morning, and snap a pic. Say cheese. Oh wait, what is that smell? Just once I want to see one of these photos with someone going, wait, was Uncle Billy unalive the whole time? But let's switch to something much happier. The time that Napoleon got outsmarted by a group of rabbits. Napoleon, genius strategist, battlefield legend, gets outmaneuvered by rabbits. He sets up this rabbit hunt for his men, except they don't get wild rabbits, they get tame ones. So when they're released, instead of running away, they rush toward him like it's lunchtime at a petting zoo. Napoleon and his men running from bunnies. That's not a historical defeat. That's a deleted Looney Tunes episode. Speaking of France, did we mention the Eiffel Tower has its own seasonal growth chart? Little science detour. The Eiffel Tower grows in the summer. That's right, metal expands in heat. So on a hot day, Paris's most famous monument gets about 6 inches taller. Not even kidding, the thing has a seasonal growth chart. If buildings can get summer gains, why can't I? Been lifting 3 months and I still look like cold spaghetti. Britain versus Zanzibar. Sultan says no, Britain says boom, and 38 minutes later, it's over. The palace is in ruins, the guys fled, and the war ends faster than a coffee break. Honestly, I've spent longer trying to pair a Bluetooth speaker. Let's discuss another historical figure. You may know him, Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill's visiting New York. Forgets which side the cars come from. Boom! Gets hit by one. And instead of blaming anyone, this guy writes a letter from his hospital bed, apologizing to the driver. Sorry my internal bleeding got on your fender, old chap. Only Churchill could get hit by a car and treat it like he showed up late to the accident. Peter the Great finds out his wife's been sneaking around, so he unalives the lover, and here's where it gets real healthy. He preserves the guy's head in a jar and makes her keep it in her bedroom. Like, hey babe, can you pass me the candle? It's next to your ex's floating skull. That's not therapy. That's a horror movie starring you. Let's talk about another horror that happened in the 16th century. Lady starts dancing in the street, just doesn't stop. No music, no party, just goes full dance fever. Then more people join in, then dozens. Then people start dropping dead from exhaustion. And what do the town leaders do? Let's build them a stage and keep the party going. Yeah, real helpful. It's the only music festival where the headliner was unalive meant. Alright, final boss of insane history, the Cadaver Synod. Year 897. Pope Stephen VI hates his predecessor, Pope Formosus. Slight problem, Formosus is unalive. So what does he do? He digs him up, puts him in papal robes, props him on a throne, and holds a literal trial. The man's a skeleton. They yell at him, find him guilty, cut off his rotten fingers and throw him in the river. You think cancel culture is bad now? Try getting canceled 9 months after passing by the Pope. So, yeah, that's your history lesson for today. If you thought we were the first generation to do dumb stuff, oh no. People have been disaster artists since forever. We went to war with birds, danced ourselves into the grave, and put a corpse on trial. If you liked it, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Which of these makes you most worried about humanity? I'm going with birds. 1, people 0. Catch ya in the next one, and remember,